The transition of life from water to land marks one of the most extraordinary moments in evolutionary history. For nearly 4 billion years, all life existed in the oceans, from the simplest single-celled organisms to more complex marine creatures. However, around 400 million years ago, during the Silurian period, the first steps toward terrestrial life began. Some organisms adapted to freshwater environments, while plants started colonizing the muddy edges of coastal swamps. These early plants, evolving from simple seaweeds, began to develop internal structures known as vascular tissues, tiny tube-like vessels that transported water, nutrients, and the products of photosynthesis throughout the plant. This vascular system was a major breakthrough, allowing plants to grow taller, become structurally complex, and survive in drier conditions. As plants thrived and expanded, they paved the way for other life forms by providing both oxygen and food sources. The first animals to venture onto land were arthropods, small invertebrates such as primitive wingless insects like springtails and bristletails. These tiny creatures likely fed on plant remains, algal cells, and fungi that decomposed dead plant material. Soon after, predatory arthropods, including spider-like arachnids, evolved to hunt these early plant eaters. Other soft-bodied invertebrates, such as worms, probably lived in these swampy environments, though their fossils are rare due to their delicate structures. As the Devonian period progressed, land plants diversified further, giving rise to giant horsetail plants and tree ferns. These towering plants created new ecosystems, offering shelter and additional food sources. With more plant life came an explosion of insect diversity, including early scorpions and dragonflies, some of which grew to impressive sizes. These new habitats allowed arthropods to spread across land, much as they do today. But the biggest evolutionary leap was yet to come: the arrival of vertebrate animals on land. Around 370 million years ago, during the transition from the Devonian to the Carboniferous period, the first amphibians emerged. Fossil evidence from ancient swamp forests in what is now Greenland shows that these early land-dwelling vertebrates evolved from Rhippidistian fish, a group of fleshy-finned sarcopterygian fish. Unlike typical fish, Rhippidistians had muscular, lobed fins and primitive lungs, allowing them to breathe air when necessary. Over time, some of these fish evolved into air-breathing, four-limbed creatures capable of walking on land. However, like modern amphibians, they still relied on water to lay their eggs and for their early life stages, meaning their existence was split between aquatic and terrestrial environments. One of the earliest known amphibians, Ichthyostega, still retained some fish-like features, such as a tail with fin rays and body scales, but it had developed strong limbs to move on land. From these first amphibians, a diverse range of species evolved, including some that resembled today's crocodiles in both size and shape. The most successful of these groups was the Labyrinthodonts, which ranged in size from tiny newt-like creatures to the massive Eogurinus, which could grow up to 15 feet, 4.5 meters long. During the late Carboniferous and early Permian periods, amphibians dominated the land. Some species remained aquatic, feeding on fish, while others adapted to life on land, preying on insects, other invertebrates, and smaller amphibians. However, by about 300 million years ago, a significant evolutionary shift occurred. Some amphibians evolved into the first reptiles. Unlike amphibians, these early reptiles developed eggs with protective shells, allowing them to reproduce away from water. This adaptation freed them from the constraints of swamps and wetlands, enabling them to spread into drier environments and eventually take over as the dominant land vertebrates. Although amphibians are relatively small creatures today, limited to frogs, toads, and newts, they were once the rulers of the land. Hundreds of millions of years ago, almost every large terrestrial animal was an amphibian. Massive species like Archaeops, which grew up to 6 feet, 2 meters long and had strong, bony plates covering their bodies, thrived during this time. Their powerful limbs allowed them to navigate land more effectively than their fish-like ancestors. The move from water to land was a turning point in the history of life on Earth. It set the stage for the development of reptiles, dinosaurs, mammals, and ultimately humans. Without the pioneering steps of these early plants and animals, life as we know it would never have existed. From tiny springtails to giant amphibians, each evolutionary advancement played a critical role in shaping the world we live in today. If you enjoyed this journey through time, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more amazing science content. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.